Thursday, June 19th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Meteorologist Matthew East here in the Weather on the One's Forecast Center. Let's look at our visibilities this morning, and not much in the way of fog out there, but there will continue to be some patchy fog developing here early this Thursday morning in a couple spots, but it will not be anything overly widespread. Look at the hot high temperatures from yesterday. 97 degrees the high in Richmond and Raleigh, 98 in Fayetteville, Columbia hit 96. 93 in Charlotte, and in Greensboro, numerous spots in both the Charlotte and the Triad viewing areas up in the mid-90s for highs yesterday. And currently it's a lot of 70s again in most of the larger observing sites, 74 in Fayetteville, 75 right now in Wilmington, 74 in Cape Hatteras, still just shy of 80 right now up in Richmond, Virginia. Dew points, they're up there, 60s to low 70s. It is a very muggy air mass that remains in place here across the region. Now, we're seeing some subtle changes in the overall weather setup. Off to the north of us, we've had that frontal boundary for multiple days, but it's now getting just close enough to us that we're going to begin to see a little better chance of some scattered showers and storms here over the next few days. At the moment, still pretty quiet, but you notice that zone of showers and storms is not that far away now from North Carolina, and we'll be seeing probably a little better coverage of scattered storms this afternoon than what a lot of us have seen the past couple of days. Now, speaking of yesterday, there was a zone of pretty intense areas of very slow-moving showers and storms. That was mainly there in southwestern parts of North Carolina, especially as you got into the western parts of the Charlotte metro, parts of Cleveland, Gaston, Lincoln counties, up into parts of Catawba, Iredell, and even up into Rowan County. And here's your storm reports from yesterday. You can see those same areas I just mentioned. That's where you had the largest concentration of storms, and in the upstate of South Carolina too. And had a couple of wind damage reports there in Clover, and also up around Lincolnton. And then I'll highlight a couple of the other reports here. This was up in Stokes County near the Virginia border. Had a pretty intense storm during the 4 o'clock hour there around King. Some siding damage to houses. Also around High Rock Lake, had some intense storms between Rowan and Davidson counties. Several power lines down, some trees down, a lot of lightning strikes too. And this is a look at your rainfall distribution. Again, it was fairly spotty once you got away from those areas I just mentioned, but I think the piece is beginning to come together for a little better chance of some scattered storms now over the next few days. Here's the radar early this morning. Several areas and waves of showers and storms from the mid-Atlantic region arcing back into the upper Midwest and the Plains states. And look at all the storm reports over the past 24 hours, just a ton of them, especially wind damage. A couple hundred plus wind damage reports across the lower 48 yesterday. All right, today, still going to be a hot day, still going to be a humid day, but then again, I think a little better coverage of those scattered storms as we get into this afternoon and this evening. Here's your high temperature map this afternoon: 97 in Raleigh, 98 in Fayetteville, 93 Charlotte and Greensboro, and then your heat index values. This is just a snapshot from the RPM model here, but certainly some triple-digit heat index values a possibility in places like Raleigh and Fayetteville, over toward Elizabeth City, down into Columbia and Richmond. And I think for the Charlotte and Triad viewing areas, some mid and upper 90s for dew point, for heat index values rather, prior to the scattered thunderstorms. Now tomorrow, that frontal boundary actually begins to edge into the area, so I think a pretty good coverage of afternoon showers and thunderstorms tomorrow, and highs backing down just a bit accordingly. Upper 80s maybe on the board for Greensboro and Raleigh. And then as you get on into Saturday, that front begins to stall out to some extent, and I think as that occurs, still pretty good coverage of scattered showers and storms. Again, our numbers continue to back down just a bit for highs. I've trimmed these numbers back a bit, as it looks like we'll see that front drop in and maybe cut into our highs and give us pretty good scattered shower and thunderstorm chances, especially tomorrow and Saturday. And I'll continue to check the tropics with you here on most days as we go through the summer months, but no sign of any tropical development, hardly even any clouds in the Gulf of Mexico. Caribbean Sea is quiet, a couple of tropical waves out there through the Atlantic into the Caribbean, but just no sign at all of any tropical development. All right, here's a look at the European 500 millibar chart today, and you look very carefully. This little disturbance there moving through Pennsylvania and West Virginia. That's one of the reasons we have a little better chance of some scattered thunderstorms today. Now you notice the ridge we've had overhead displaced by a broad trough over the weekend. That'll mean some a decrease to some extent in our high temperatures and still some chances for showers and thunderstorms. Some discrepancies, though, as we get into next week. This is the European model for Tuesday, showing the ridge trying to build back in. The GFS, on the other hand, by Wednesday has another big trough diving in, so we'll see how that plays out for the middle part of next week. Today, again, I think you're looking at some scattered showers and thunderstorms out there as we go through the afternoon and the evening hours. Actually, your standard slight risk of severe storms outlined in a good chunk of Virginia and Maryland and Delaware. And as we've seen, certainly we're fair game to see those Pulse type of severe storms around here as we go through the course of the afternoon and the evening hours, damaging winds and hail and a lot of lightning. There's tomorrow, pretty good chances for scattered showers and thunderstorms. Same story for Saturday, and then we'll see how it plays out for Sunday and Monday. For the time being, I'm going with more of an isolated coverage of storms, especially in the western parts of North Carolina, for Sunday and Monday. Now, all kind of depends on the placement of that front I showed you a couple of moments ago. All right, that is it for today's edition of the video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.